Raise your hands, please, if you think that smoking 15 cigarettes per day is worse than play games solo. Well, I have a bad news for you. Nowadays, with gaming being more popular than ever, study after study has shown that loneliness among a gamer become epidemic. And loneliness, it's not just a bad feeling, it's a significant health concern. So what we can do about this? And maybe together we can find a solution for this problem. My name is Sydorenko, and I'm CEO and founder of GameTree. It's a platform that connects gamers and connects community through gaming and help them to find friends and build genuine friendship through games. We spend thousands and thousands of hours study gamer psychology, study gamer behavior, and today I'm going to share with you what did we find out. Thus, loneliness is actually such a big deal around gaming. Studies show that our generation is the most lonely generation worldwide in the human history, and loneliness among gamers is 15% higher than loneliness among other social groups. And gamers spend twice as much time playing games and talking with people online versus in real life. But does game by itself is guilty? Does game by itself make you feel less lonely or more lonely? Well, studies show it's not that simple. Video games by itself does not really influence your sense of loneliness. More of that, games that you play with friends, collaborative game, or even competitive games make you feel better and less lonely, unlike single-player games that show bigger problem and increasing sense of loneliness. So it looks like the decision is simple, right? Let's just all play and develop massive multiplayer games. It's not that simple either, because majority of gamers actually prefer playing solo games. 52% spend most of their time playing games by themselves. And it all goes to the reason why people prefer playing solo games. Majority of people use games for exploring their fantasy worlds and for escaping from reality, which actually make them feel worse. And I'm not exception. I've been there either. At the age of 18, I joined Ukraine army, and I spent a year fighting on the front line as a paramedic. And after such experience, I felt extremely lonely, isolated, and depressed. And being gamer for whole my life, like during my life, I built all my friendship and connection through games. I thought that I can go back, and I thought that I can find community and friends online. But not only there was no community and friends, there was toxicity, harassment, and sexism. And it's not just only me. Majority of female gamers have experienced sexism and toxicity. And in general, 68% of gamers reported that they feel physical threat or harassment. And it's not just bad feeling. 67% of gamers more likely going to stop playing because of that. As a result, only 18% of gamers see gaming as community-centered activity. And we start asking this question, why toxicity is such a big problem? Is it gamers that, like all of our friends are gamer, are we actually just toxic and bad people? Or maybe there is something more? A couple years ago, we find a study that's been run by Riot Games that discovered that 90% of all conflicts online is actually miscommunication. We start running studies, we start talking with gamers, we start spying on their behavior online and going super deep into psychology. And we find out that majority of conflicts is the clashes of personalities, values, or player style. So toxicity as a problem is not just somebody trying to be toxic with another players. And it's not the problem that inside the games. This is the problem that in people's psychology. So games by themselves, they cannot fix it. Because the problem is not inside the game. Problem is in people's psychology and the way how our personality clashes with each other, especially online, when anonymity brings whole another level. So this is one of the models that we developed. It's called Player Style. We use it for improving social experience for gamers. We measure different level and different sort of fun that you can find online, and that also one of the reasons that create natural clashes and natural conflict. For example, let's say competition. If one player is super competitive and another player is super casual, it's naturally gonna, and they play together, it's naturally gonna bring a conflict, because super competitive player will be like, you know, try way too hard, like, why you so slow? Why you spending so much time on random side quests? Versus casual gamer will be like, hey dude, you're so toxic, chill, we're here just to have fun. And this is just one of example. Another thing that we measure is how okay you with the swearing, how okay you with LGBTQ plus community, and stuff like that. So solution that we find out and that we use for improving user experience is playing with people who not just gonna be your teammates, but also gonna be your real life friends. How you can do this? By using data and rely on data and research your users from psychology point of view and from the point of view of their behavior in the game. Here is another very interesting topic to think. When we talk about, well, toxicity can be solved by playing with friends, how we actually find friends, especially online. It's simple when we talk about online dating or dating in general. You look for somebody who's pretty, you look for somebody who's attractive, but how we actually looking for friends? Appearance is not usually the criteria, so what is the criteria? And there is actually a studies and science behind a friendship. For example, values play a big part of that. We need to see the world in the same way and accept each other in a personal level. Another thing is we need to spend together approximately 36 hours in regular interaction during 6 months period of time. Third one, more than 50% of our communication should be positive, should be about something nice, or should be joyful and playful and fun. And the last one is usually there is some third activity or third person or third event that bring both of you together. It sounds pretty complicated, right? And as an adult, it looks like almost impossible to make friends. Well, that's why gaming is actually a perfect solution for this. Games give you more than just a fun time. It's actually give you a perfect excuse. It gives you a purpose and common sense to spend time together, doing something together and be united. And also, it's fun communication that you can do regularly. In the GameTree, we spent about 3 years and built over 3 million connections. We have about 700,000 users that give us extremely great positive feedback about how they make their best friend, how they find their wife. And I'm sure that all of you also know these couples that met through games, you know, this group of friends that find each other online and through games. And can you imagine how extremely great is for your brand and how extremely great is not just for social reason, but for your business? If you are the product that changes people's life, that help them find their life partner, their best friend, your stickiness is going to be absolute, your loyalty, your stickiness, and your attention metrics going to be much higher. So here's our decisions, our solution, what to do step by step. First of all, it's deeply research and know your audience. Not just their demographic, their age and sex, it's very basic. We should dive super deep into psychology. I know it's very hard to collect this data, and unfortunately, in many multi-billion-dollar gaming industry, there's very few companies who actually dive deeper into gaming psychology, and especially in gaming relationship. So if you cannot find this data, there's few companies like ours who does this research, and that we'll be very happy to share with you the insights that we find for free. Second one is collect this data and use this data for curate experience. It can be matching experience, social experience, and also just personalized gaming experience. Because when you know your audience, when you know your user, you can give them what they're looking for. We've been talking about gamer style. You can give them story if they like story. You can give them aesthetic if they like aesthetic. You can give them pretty much everything. And third one, it's encourage your users to socialize. It's not necessarily mean that all of us should have MMO games. It's more mean that we should encourage our users to join community, to create guild, to interact with each other, because it's eventually going to help them, and it's also going to help our product and our metrics. I think this is the most important thing that I would love to share with you. Also, maybe last one is to say that all of us are responsible, social responsible for make gaming more friendly community, more friendly space for everyone. And here's my LinkedIn. I'll give you my LinkedIn later. If you have any question, I'll be more than happy to answer for them. Thank you so much for making gaming industry better.
We're still having some time for questions. Do you have any questions?
Great presentation, thank you. I have a question. I'm looking on my son, who is 12 years old, and he mostly play with his colleagues. So he not make new connections, but he in the same group of siblings. And what's the difference between young generation and older generation? I think maybe wrong that as younger generation, they more openly to this internet interconnection. When I'm looking on myself, I prefer playing alone and be as far as away as possible with the socializing things.
So first, okay, I will answer first part of the question, then I have a question to you as well. There is a big difference in the way how different generation plays, and it first they prefer naturally different type of games. For example, people with older age, they play more puzzle, they play more strategies, versus younger generation, they play more RPG and action games. Another big one is, as we're getting older, it's harder for us to find community, and we deprioritize in gaming because we can see this as activity that do not give us enough value. So we can see it as a wasting of time, even though it's actually can give us a lot of social benefits, especially if we play it with other people. So as a younger generation, they do not have this stereotypical mindset that gaming is bad, versus older generation, very often they perceive gaming as a wasting of time. And my question to you is, why do you personally prefer solo games versus massive multiplayer games? What is stand behind of this? Is it some sort of fear, or it just awkwardness, or what is this?
I would totally agree. I feel that playing the game is a waste of the time. I'm not playing often. It's very rarely I have time to play. One thing I don't like to play with others is the fact that I could end the game whenever I want. So, for instance, if I play chess with somebody else, I want to finish the game in the middle, I will waste my opponent's time.
But what if it's not just about playing chess or play any games? What is a chess? It's only an excuse for you to have more friends as you're getting older. And as I mentioned, loneliness right now, there's a big trend. Young generation is the most effective, but even in older generation, right now in the US, it shows that nowadays, older generation in the US feel 30% more lonely. And it used to be that average person has about 5 close friends. Nowadays, this number decreased about 3 best friends, which is not really enough for human as a social creature, because we all been evolved to being social. And gaming, not just as an entertainment, but as a way and excuse to socialize and build human connection with no random people, but with people who you can predict it to like, with people who will be about your social status, and with somebody who you'll actually enjoy spending your time with.
So first of all, I'm a very big introvert, so I don't like interactive with other guys. To be honest, I'm not open to this kind of relationship. Maybe I'm a bit afraid. Maybe I'm too old. I don't know. But I think that the younger generation don't have those obstacles, and they open to this world like this.
Join GameTree, and I'm sure we'll find somebody you will love playing with, like once
Maybe.
a month.
Thank you so much for your question.